How you doing? I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Today I wanted to talk about alcohol is not your friend. It never was, right? It never will be. Alcohol is your enemy. Now, I'm not saying this like alcohol has got some personality or it's got something that it can have any influence over you and therefore, it's doing something bad to you in your life, None of that bullshit, It's not the alcohol that does any of this stuff. It's the way your body reacts to the alcohol. Now, alcohol is a normal part of our lives. It's a normal part of our bodies, right? As a natural, normal, evolving human being, you have alcohol as part of the digestive processes, right? So every time you eat something, the longer food stays in your system, the more it starts to ferment, and obviously it's causing a lot of alcohol as a byproduct of that fermentation, right? Same goes with fruits and vegetables and stuff, and not so much these days, but if you were in the wild maybe 10,000 years ago, you'd have a lot more of this alcohol, natural alcohol in your system, because you'd see ripe fruits on the trees or you'd see ripe fruits on the floor, and you would eat those. If you were a hunter-gatherer, that would be part of your diet, right? And even if the fruit was on the worse end, that stuff that we would throw out nowadays, you would eat those in going back 10,000 years or 20,000 years or whatever it was. But your body is well capable of dealing with that amount of alcohol, right? Your body can deal with 1 unit of alcohol per hour. And that, in terms of the alcohol that surfaces through your digestion, or the alcohol that you're likely to put into your body through these natural means, other words, the fruit and stuff that you're likely to eat, that 1 unit of alcohol per hour is massive. It's huge. It's well within your capabilities of dealing with anything that your body can throw at it, right? And the way we are putting alcohol into our mouths, right, this is how we've caused ourselves so much difficulty, is in such huge quantities and such unnatural quantities. I mean, if you look at food, for instance, right? If you look at how we would get food as a normal, natural part of our lives, if we just concentrated our food gathering on the primitive world, right? On the natural world. If you take the categories of fat, sugar, and salt, right? It's all in the environment, right? Fat is in the vegetables and fruits and all that kind of stuff that we eat. It's in the animal flesh that we eat. It's in many different aspects of the food that we take into our bodies. So is sugar and salt, right? But these are all, our body is designed, it's evolved to take in these amounts of fat, sugar and salt. But in the modern day world that we live in, the scientists, the food scientists, who are working for the big food conglomerates, they know that we crave fat, sugar and salt. So they pile this stuff into the food. I mean, if you saw how much salt was in just basic stuff like your breakfast cereals, and how they get a lot more salt into it just by crunching it down, grinding it up and putting it in and disguising the flavour and stuff like that. Same with sugar, same with fat. How much of this stuff they're able to put into the fat just to make it taste better, When you look at normal foods, I mean, every food that you take has got a natural taste to it, and even the normal whole foods that we're taking in, that we're buying now, are sort of a shadow of what the normal foods used to be 100 years ago, just because we've been overusing the soil, we've been using lots of different chemicals to keep away pests and all that kind of stuff, but that's a different story. What we use fat, sugar and salt for, there's a definite purpose for it, right? There's a purpose for fat, there's for storage of energy, there's a purpose for sugar, which is to give us that energy, right? And what energy we don't use can be turned into fat, and we need certain amounts of salts in our body for normal function, right? The same goes with alcohol, right? Alcohol in itself has a function, right? It's a byproduct of a function, I should say. So it's a natural part of the process, and our body is well capable of dealing with that. Once we get outside of all those natural bounds and you get man who's interfering with the food or interfering with the alcohol for the sake of making millions or billions of dollars or pounds, euros, sticking them into his bank account and letting that grow and grow and grow, you know. I guess what I'm trying to say is that small amounts of alcohol are a natural part of the cycle, right? But if anyone tries to tell you that drinking alcohol is normal, and even if they say, well, you know, we've been drinking alcohol for thousands of years, you know, even if they say, well, you know, we've been drinking alcohol for 2,000 years or 3,000 years or 10,000 years, right? It's still only a small little blip on the map of how long we've been around, right, as human beings, right, as in one form or another, you know, going back to Homo sapiens and Neanderthals and blah, 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 all the way backwards, right? It's only a small little blip on that. So when you say that alcohol is normal, alcohol drinking is normal, we're not designed to drink alcohol in that way. You know, alcohol might be a normal cultural practice now, but when you look back in history, in our own history, you'll see that there have been a lot of normal cultural practices which have died out now, which have gone into the dusts of time. And we look at it now and think, well, you know, that would be crazy to bring that back. You know, slavery is one thing, you know, normal cultural practice. Taking heroin was a normal cultural practice for some people back then, you know. Sacrifice was a normal cultural practice at one stage, not anymore, you know. You know, when we're looking at normalcy in this context, you have to look at it from a realistic thinking perspective. You have to be intelligent about it and think, well, you know, is this normality, is this practice that we're saying is normal, is this good for me or bad for me? Is it good for my health or bad for my health? And whatever way you look at alcohol, it's bad for your health. You know, whatever way you look at alcohol, it's your enemy, it's not your friend, right? And that's the way you have to view alcohol. You have to stop thinking that it's doing you any good, that it's helping you in any way, that it's got any place in your life, that it's got any place in your family or your culture, right? It hasn't. You know, we're just brainwashed into believing that it has. Alcohol is your enemy. Putting alcohol into your system, putting these amounts of alcohol into your system has only got one final end result, and that's misery, right? Misery for you, misery for the people around you, misery for your life, right? So get it out of your system, get it out of your life, get it out of your culture if you can work towards that, you know. You know, at one stage, smoking cigarettes was a normal part of our culture, and it's gradually, slowly dying, especially in the Western culture. I think in some parts of the world it's still growing, but, you know, it's only a matter of time. And I believe it's only a matter of time before alcohol is also following that path, where people will eventually start to think, well, what am I doing to myself? Why am I putting this toxin into my body just for the sake of feeling a bit weird, of feeling like my head is spinning, of not being able to talk properly, all in the name of relaxation or whatever it is that you're doing it for. So look, I'll leave it there. If you have any questions at all, any comments, leave them down below. Come on over to the website if you want to sign up for our new Alcohol Mastery Starter Pack. There's 3 different courses, there's 3 different books, and there's a couple of other bits and bobs in there. If you want to help out Alcohol Mastery, you can go over to patreon.com and type in Alcohol Mastery in the search bar, and you'll find how you can become a patron of the website. Thank you very much to everyone who's already doing this. So until next time, my name's Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Take care of yourself, keep the alcohol out of your mouth, onwards and upwards. Take care, bye now.